The last piece of globalization that we want to talk about is labor migration. And labor migration has played an important role in the Industrial Revolution and in which countries have grown over the last 200 years. It's obviously played an extremely important role in the United States, where we are almost exclusively a country of immigrants, and but that's come in various waves, right? So this graph shows the immigration as a percentage of the increase in the U.S. population. So if it's 10%, that means 10% of the increase was due to immigration, and 90% was just due to a higher birth rate. And you can see it's ranged from less than 5% to over 80%. We had a huge wave first of Irish and Italians, other Southern Europeans, and then a really big increase in the late 19th and then first part of the 20th centuries. And that's actually when we first started putting some restrictive immigration laws in place. Actually, the first ones were in the late 19th century and were aimed at Chinese and other East Asian countries. Um, the first one that applied more globally was in 1923, 1924. And you can see that immigration really dropped off dramatically in um, the 1920s and 30s and 40s. And then there was a law passed in 1965 that opened up the country again to immigration on a slightly less racist basis, and increased the share of population growth that came from immigration. There was a big influx in the late 80s and early 90s of Central and South American immigrants, but uh, immigration has, well, illegal immigration, we'll talk about later, has decreased over the last 7 or 8 years since the financial crisis. Another place where labor migration has been important has been in the European Union. So part of the European Union agreement was that people could move freely between countries without needing a passport, without needing a work visa. And that has opened up a lot of labor markets. Of course, one of the differences between moving from Spain to Germany versus Florida to Wisconsin is that they speak different languages in Spain and Germany, whereas we speak more or less the same language in Florida and Wisconsin. You can see that there are still different labor costs. So this gives labor costs as a percentage of U.S. manufacturing, both for a period in the late 70s and then a period from 2005 to 2009. One of the interesting things to note is that almost all countries, with the exception of like Mexico, have improved relative to the United States. So a country like Norway that was already above us is even farther above us in terms of manufacturing wages, as is the Netherlands. The UK has surpassed us in terms of wages. Korea has gotten closer. Japan has gotten closer. Um, and a lot of that has to do more with changes in labor market institutions, both in the United States and in other countries, than in anything else. But we would expect that as countries do develop, once they put the institutions in place to have a successful capitalistic society and economy, that wages would, uh, if not equalize, come pretty close, right? As firms use the same similar amounts of capital and technology.